Hi everybody, Mr. Thompson here. What we're going to look at right now is percentages with pictures. So the first picture we're going to draw, as always, is a bar. So there I've got a nice bar there. And you'll notice that I haven't divided this bar up yet. It's just an empty bar, so I could do this on plain paper, but it is easier with grids. So I've just got a nice bar here, and what we could say next is how much is the bar worth? Well, the bar is the whole thing, and a whole in percentages is 100%. So I've just labelled it there to make it nice and obvious. The whole thing is worth 100%. And what we could do is we could split it up into different amounts. So for example there we've got 2 equal pieces, and if we've got 2 equal pieces then each part must be just 50%. But at the same time we don't have to split 100% into just 2. We could split it into more. So there we go, I've split it into 5 equal pieces this time. So I need to think to myself, if I've divided 100 into 5 equal pieces, then each piece is going to be 100 divided by 5, 20. So there we have 20, 40, 60, 80, 100%. And each of these pieces is equal and they're worth the same. But again, we could split it into even smaller pieces. So there I've got 100%, and now I've split it into 10 boxes, 10 equal boxes. So if I do 100 divided by 10, each box is just 10%. And again, we could split it into even smaller and smaller amounts. We could go as small as even just 1%. And to do that, we'd just do 100 divided by 100 to get 1%. But let's stick with 10% for now. Let's take a look at a question. So our question here in red is find 10% of £30. So I've drawn out my box and I've split it up so that I've got 10%. The next thing to understand is that the £30 is the whole thing. £30 represents 100%. It's the whole thing. So I'm going to write that in as well. Good. Now remember, all we wanted was just 10%. And to find that, what we need to remember is that 100% is the whole thing, and we've divided it into 10 equal sized boxes. So that means to find 10% we divided by 10. So we're going to do that with the whole amount of money as well. £30 divided by 10. £30 divided by 10 is 3. So I can see that each box is going to have to be £3. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, 30. I've definitely divided £30 equally into each of these boxes. The next step is to remember that 10% is just one box. So that answers our question. 10% must be £3. Easy. But what if the question was slightly different? What if we needed to find 40% of £30? Well, that's alright. We know that 10% is £3, so 40% must just be 4 of the boxes. So altogether, 40% is just 3, 6, 9, £12. But what if we need 45%? Don't worry, this one's just another trick. If we know 10% is £3, I've jumped to another page here, then to find 5%, well, if we know that 10% is a box, then to get 5%, we can just halve 10%, because half of 10 is 5. So if I just halve the box, best I can, then half of the 10% would be 5% in each. And 5% is all I need. So all I need to do is half the £3. Half of £3 is just £1.50. So altogether, 45% is just 3, 6, 9, 12, £13.50. Let's just recap how we did that. To find 45%, first we divided our whole 100% into 10% boxes by dividing by 10. This meant that we could find 10% is £3. But then we needed to find 5%. To find 5%, we just halved 10%. Altogether, 45% were 4 10% and a 5%. You can keep doing this and find all sorts of percentages. Have fun.